Today, we're diving into one of the most incredible biological events a person can go through, motherhood. But we're not just talking about the obvious physical stuff. Nope. We are going deeper into a transformation that happens right inside the brain. We always focus on the birth of the baby, right? But what if we've been missing half the story this whole time? What if those 9 months aren't just about growing a tiny human, but also about completely rewiring a mother's brain for what comes next? So let's start there. Because this isn't just a lifestyle change we're talking about. This is a fundamental biological transformation, and your brain is the one conducting the whole orchestra. During pregnancy and right after, there are these huge neuropsychological shifts. And we're talking about really core stuff. Changes to your thinking, to the way you learn and remember things, how you regulate your mood, and of course the emergence of these powerful new instincts for taking care of a baby. And here's the kicker. These shifts are not random side effects of being tired or overwhelmed. No way. They are the visible signs of your brain's plasticity in overdrive. It is actively, deliberately remodeling itself, almost like a renovation project that hasn't been seen since you were a teenager, all to get ready for the massive job of being a mom. Okay, so if the brain is getting this massive renovation, where exactly is all the construction happening? Well, scientists have actually pinpointed a key location. You can think of it as the brain's very own neuron nursery. Now, the fancy scientific term for what's happening here is adult hippocampal neurogenesis, or AHN. It's this amazing process where brand new neurons are actually born in the adult brain, which, by the way, we didn't even think was possible for a long time. And it doesn't happen just anywhere. It's focused in a few very special spots. And the number one nursery for these new brain cells is a region called the hippocampus. It's this small, kind of seahorse-shaped part of the brain, and it is basically ground zero for the whole maternal brain transformation. And it makes so much sense that this is the spot, because the hippocampus is the hub for exactly the kinds of skills a new mom needs to develop, and fast. It's crucial for learning and memory, like, learning what each specific cry means. And critically, it's a huge player in regulating mood and helping forge that vital mother-infant bond. It's the perfect place for this to happen. So what's causing all this incredible change? What's the driving force? Well, the answer lies in this powerful and perfectly timed hormonal symphony that plays out over 9 months. To put it simply, during pregnancy, the body is just flooded with this potent cocktail of hormones on a scale that you just don't see at any other time in life. These are the chemical messengers screaming at the brain, get ready, it's time to change. And this chart, wow, it really puts the sheer scale of this into perspective. Just look at the key players here. Estrogen and progesterone just climb and climb, reaching these incredible peaks. Prolactin, which is all about lactation, just shoots up. These aren't small adjustments, folks. These are dramatic, landscape-altering surges. Now, you might be looking at that and thinking, okay, that peak must be the main event. But that is only half the story. The real drama, that happens right after the baby is born. In the hours and days after delivery, these hormones that have been sky high for months suddenly, dramatically just plummet. They fall off a cliff. And this massive withdrawal is just as important as the surge itself. In fact, for a lot of these brain changes, that sudden drop is the real starting gun. It creates a brand new chemical environment where the remodeling can truly begin. Okay, and this is where the science gets really, really cool. Because you see, the relationship between these hormones and the birth of new neurons, it isn't as simple as just more hormones equals more neurons. It's way more complicated than that. So the obvious question is, right? Does that huge surge of hormones directly cause a massive boom in new brain cells? Well, the answer, it turns out, is kinda, but not really. It's complicated. Let's just take estrogen as an example. This highlights the puzzle perfectly. A little bit of estrogen short-term seems to boost the production of new brain cells. Great. But long-term exposure, like what happens over 9 months of pregnancy, can actually have no effect or can even stop it. It just goes to show you, when it comes to hormones in your brain, timing is absolutely everything. So how in the world do scientists figure this all out? How do you untangle this complex dance of timing and dosage? Well, they rely on really carefully controlled animal studies. These models let them isolate one hormone at a time and map out its exact effects on the brain, helping us piece together this incredibly intricate puzzle. Okay, so we have hormones changing the structure of the hippocampus. Super interesting stuff. But let's zoom back out for a second.
What does all this mean for the actual real-life experience of being a mother? Why does any of this matter?
Well, it all comes together in this kind of beautiful four-step process. First, you get the dramatic hormonal shifts. Step 2, this changes the birth rate of new neurons in the hippocampus. Then, those new neurons get woven into the existing circuits, basically remodeling the brain's wiring. And what's the end result? The emergence of all new maternal ways of thinking and behaving.
And that right there, that's the whole point. This entire biological cascade is designed to prepare the brain for the monumental task ahead. It's fine-tuning the systems you need to learn your baby's unique language, to stay vigilant, and to form that unbelievably powerful bond. It's biology giving you a helping hand. This also helps us understand what might be happening when things go wrong. Research is starting to suggest that when this whole process of neurogenesis gets thrown off track, it can be linked to problems with learning and memory. And, really importantly, it may be related to postpartum mood disorders. For example, we know that lower functional levels of oxytocin, that's a key bonding hormone, are correlated with higher rates of postpartum depression and anxiety.
So, where does all this leave us? Well, we've learned a ton, but the honest truth is, we are just scratching the surface of understanding the maternal brain. This is a story that is still very much being written. You know, every new study adds another piece to this amazing puzzle. Scientists are now asking all kinds of new questions like, how long do these changes last? A lifetime? And how do things like stress or having really good social support change this whole remodeling process? And that leaves us with one last, really fascinating thought. If motherhood triggers such a fundamental rewiring of the brain, what other big life experiences, intense learning, trauma, maybe even falling in love, are also quietly reshaping who we are, right under the surface? It's pretty incredible to think about. Thanks for joining me for this one.